And it's great to welcome back to Flow to chat about their latest song from Michael Carpenter and the Banks Brothers. We have got Michael Carpenter. Mate, how you going today?
Hey, Clayton. How you going? Hey, listeners out there. Great to be here.
Oh, I'm doing okay. What about yourself? How are you coping with all this? We won't mention it, the C word. We'll leave it alone. But how are you coping with it all?
Look, I tend to always keep myself pretty busy. I'm a pretty positive person, so I try to look at all these things always as a bit of an opportunity, and this is an opportunity for me to get a bit more sleep, and for me to just kind of work at a slightly slower pace. I always work, like I've always got a lot of things going on at the same time, and so I'm actually looking at it as a little brief pause, because I know once this is over, it's going to get really hectic again. I've got a lot of things that have momentum at the moment, so I'm taking this as an opportunity. Still getting plenty of stuff done. Because I've been busy here in the studio for the last couple of months, it's actually indemnified me a little bit from a financial point of view, so I can have a little bit of a breath and not panic too much in the short term. But we'll see how we go if it goes on for another month or so. But at the moment, I'm trying to make the best out of an unprecedented situation, which is the best we can really do.
Oh, I like the way you paused before you said the word that would seem to fit the situation. Unprecedented, yes, very fitting, very fitting. I like the way you say you're using the time to get some sleep, because it feels like we all need to have a bit of a good sleep too, and just the way things are going at the moment. Yeah, so I get that.
I think the idea of I tend to, the first couple of weeks I went into a bit of a panic and got quite anxious, but now I'm kind of settling into the routine of being able to go to sleep a little bit earlier, not panic so much about timelines and deadlines and stuff like that, because especially here in the studio, there's not a lot of urgent things that are going on. And it's been nice to reflect on things with a little bit of a clearer head.
What about for you guys? You've got a new song out which is called These Arms, which we'll talk about. But is that, like with the album, is there more talk about that or future things? How's it been on that side? Have you been able to spend some time with the Banks Brothers as well?
Well, the best we've been able to do, it was unfortunate. The week that we went back into lockdown was the week that we were supposed to shoot the video for this, and we were going to do a live session in here, performing a bunch of things, and we had to cancel all of that. One of the boys is in one of the closed LGAs, so we've had 2 or 3 really, really lovely Zoom chats, and basically we're just getting on with the job because we've all got recording situations at home. We've actually moved on to we were supposed to start during our school holidays recording the next record. That was the plan. Apart from doing a video for this single, we're going to start recording the new record. So we've just started anyway. We've got the songs there, so we're just starting working remotely. Lots and lots of Facebook Messenger conversations, and we have a Zoom conversation every week. So in some ways, the funny thing about it, Clayton, is we've almost been communicating better since we've been in lockdown.
Oh.
So it's actually, but again, I think that the smart people out there are the ones who are looking at this as an opportunity and just making the best of what it is. It's not ideal. Everybody knows it's not ideal, but, it's not going to last forever, and we want to be ready on the back of it.
As I was talking to someone recently, and they said to me that they're looking upon everything as just another obstacle I have to get over. And when you with your positive attitude, and I think that's it. It comes down to your mindset and how you go through it, and that's how we're challenging it with it here at Flow. We're just being very positive and trying to keep moving forward. You can sit there and wallow in it, but it doesn't get you anywhere. It just gets you nowhere.
No, it doesn't. And look, for all the listeners who think that listening to this and thinking I'm Mr. Positive, rest assured there's a bit of a struggle every morning to get out of bed. Even this morning, I had a bunch of stuff that I wanted to do in here today, but I didn't really get out of bed until about 10 o'clock this morning, just because there was an element of, not futility, but just feeling a little bit humdrum about it all. But, I did get myself out of here. It's a lovely day out here in Sydney town, and I've gone for a little bit of a walk, and I'm happy to be in here today. So I guess my message for listeners is if they're having a tougher day, just roll with it. There'll be the days up ahead, and if people need to reach out to people, don't be scared to do it. That's a really important message at the moment.
Absolutely, and we give people those numbers and what they can do and who they can reach out to many a time. And I found for myself, getting a puppy certainly gets you out of bed very early in the morning, so it might just be a handy tip there. Whether that works for you or not, I don't know, but it certainly worked for us. Now, I need to ask you, I spoke with Cassidy Ray recently, And
she's a good one.
And you were on a song of hers, a video for Cheers Y'all. And how was that? It looked like absolute fun, the two of you doing that.
Well, I've been working with Cassie Ray for the last couple of years, and I love that girl. She's really self-motivated. She is one of the most creative and consistent artists that I've ever worked with.
Yeah.
And look, she asked me to be part of the... I mean, when we've been making her records, it's just her and I in here, and her mum Raylene comes along as well. But yeah, so she asked me to do the acoustic version, and we always have a great time. Clayton, I try to create an environment here in my studio where even if people are working on the saddest song on earth, that people need to be supported and encouraged and feel light and happy about what they're diving into. So Cassidy Ray and I are good friends, and we've got a really good combination happening, and we always have a great time. So that was, as you saw from that video, we just love it.
Was that one take?
Yep, that was one take.
Okay.
I think we had 2 run-throughs, and I actually complained because I didn't like the way my hat was looking or something like that. And so we did another take. She is such an incredible singer. She really is, and so you don't get second chances with her from that point of view. You've got to hang on and make sure you're good enough to keep up with her.
Yeah, well, I think you held your own towards the end there when you did your big cheers. So you were doing all right.
Oh, mate, I'm pretty good at just yelling stuff out.
We all. Well, thanks, Michael. Thanks for sharing that. I wanted to ask you about that, and because
no worries.
She said she had lots of fun with you, so I was glad to talk to you about that. Now, your song with the Banks Brothers, These Arms. And I just enjoy listening to your music. I said to you once before that to me it was discovering something new that I knew was always there, but I wasn't really into. But now I'm sort of getting more and more into it, and I'm just really enjoying it. And I noticed with this song that, and with other tracks that you've done, you've got a kind of like a sense of humour with things. So I need to ask you, do you believe, as Frank Zappa once asked, does humour belong in music?
Look, I think more to the point, I think that music needs to reflect the person. So, if you're looking at a Lou Reed record, there's a sardonic sort of humour about that. If you listen to a Beatles record, there's a cheekiness about it. If you listen to the Rolling Stones record, there's a sassiness about it. From our point of view, me and the boys, we're all very serious musicians from one point of view, but as people, we enjoy each other's company so much. We're very respectful of the humour that is in country music. A lot of people take country music very, very seriously, and at times they need to. But, man, there's a lot of humour in country music. I remember one of the breakthrough moments for me a lot of years ago was somebody was talking about country music song titles, and one of my favourite ones was, "My wife's gone and left me and taken the dog. I sure am going to miss him." It's always stuck with me that little twist on things is really, really important. So our record has got plenty of those things on it. Like there's a song on our record, which is one of my favourite songs called "I Bet She Isn't Writing Songs About Me," and it's just that classic idea of this is how I'm feeling. I bet she's not feeling the same way, but it's got a twist on it. So with These Arms, there's definitely a sense of that little twist on it. We're looking out for those little hooks and putting a twist on it. So taking the cliche thing. Again, much like the single that we did last year, which was "There's No One Like You," there were some people who just went, "Oh, it's a love song." It's actually a breakup song.
Yeah.
So we're always looking for those little twists between us, and it's a reflection on who we are as people. We're pretty funny guys, but it's part of country music tradition. As important as bluegrass is and stuff like that, is a sense of humour in all those sort of things. So you go and listen to a lot of the classic country artists, and they have got those humorous little twists in it.
Is it hard to capture that humour when you're recording?
No, recording for us is, recording for me is the most natural thing in the world. I've been in recording studios now for such a long, long time, and I spend all day, every day in this recording studio here at Love Hurts Studios. So when we come in, it's just creating an environment where we can just perform comfortably and naturally, and so our humour is reflected in that. If people are comfortable enough, their personality will really come out, and so it's not hard to capture that as long as people feel comfortable in the environment.
Yeah, because sometimes when you hear, like even the comedian, that you can tell when it's forced, and that's why
definitely.
So that's why I sort of wondered about that. So when you're actually in the studio recording your songs, How many takes do you do for things? Do you rehearse a lot and then try and do it in one take, or do you just?
Oh God, no.
Yeah, how do you do it?
Well, with these guys, one of the way that we recorded the first record was very much we did demos, so basic sort of like iPhone demos, just of me playing the song. We put together kind of guide tracks, and then we got the three of us together. And we played our kind of bed parts together. So for this track, for example, I played upright bass and the boys both played acoustic guitars. And then we resung the vocals, me and Zane, around my microphone.
Yeah.
And then they went and overdubbed the banjo and the dobro and the flat pick. So, I mean, really, if you looked at this song, I reckon we spent probably a total of an hour and a half, 2 hours recording it and probably 20 minutes mixing it. It's a very, very quick song, and we wanted to feel, again, authentic and organic and instinctive, so we didn't overthink it.
Which can sometimes be the hard thing to do.
It's a real problem in here. I've got a few problems I'm wrestling with at the moment where people are getting really fixated on very, very small things that ultimately don't matter that much. But you've got to support your artists when they have an idea that something is important to them.
When we talked about Cassidy Ray before, I love hearing her voice. You said she's got a great voice and how great it is. When you're working with artists that have got these great voices, how protective of you are with their voice? Because they can sometimes be falling into this category of over-singing a song. How do you stop them from doing that?
Well, there's a few things about it.
Sorry, we're going to be technical here. Sorry, Michael, I don't mean to...
Oh, no.
I'm just curious to know.
I love it. I can talk about this stuff all day, and God knows I've got anything else to do. But I'm pretty instinctive. I like to move pretty quickly, and when you've got talented people, you get them into the zone, and they can just perform. So Cassidy Ray is actually a great example. The first time she goes into the vocal booth to sing, you've got to be ready to record because she's going to give you good stuff. But by the time you get to the fourth or fifth take, she's already sung it really consistently 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
So I actually lost the job recently because the singer didn't think that I'd spent enough time on her vocals, but she was a really good vocalist, and I had everything I needed from her in about 20 minutes. With Cassidy Ray, in 4 or 5 takes, she's pretty much done, and then she might go back in and just fix up a couple of lines.
Yeah.
She's just really, really good, so it doesn't need to be an arduous process with her.
Yeah.
Not every singer is like that, and not every singer responds to that, but I tend to be very, very aware of when I'm tired. Like one of the roles of record producers, a lot of people think record producers are all about what microphone to use or what EQ. A lot of it is knowing when to push your artists harder or when to make them stop.
Yeah.
Because you don't want them to fatigue on the idea and you don't want them to lose interest. There's a particular point, Clayton, when people are doing vocal takes, when you can hear the artist disconnect from what they're trying to say, and that's the point where you get them to stop. Because you're not going to get better stuff on the back of that. And I learnt that the hard way. I'm
sure many a producer has learned it the hard way too. Whether they recognise it in time is another thing, but you obviously certainly have. And is that the same sort of approach you have to when they're playing a guitar or piano or upright bass or anything? Is it the same approach?
Yeah, I think that and I find it with myself as well, because I play a lot of the stuff on my own records that I produce. There's a point where you have to walk away from it. You just have to, because it becomes the law of diminishing returns comes in very, very quickly. So you have to stay focused. You have to keep your eye on the prize. It's very easy to get distracted by shiny things in here in a recording studio. You have to know when enough is enough. And more to the point, you have to have your processes down so that you aren't kind of fatiguing on doing things more times than you need to.
Is there artists that they just want to fixate on, they're trying to find that sound and that gets in the way of them trying to do what they're supposed to be doing? Are they so focused on this sound that only they seem to be able to hear?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And look, this is going to sound like a flippant thing what I'm about to say now, but one of the things that I actually have up my sleeve is that I charge by the hour. So if people are agonising over things that aren't necessary, it's coming out of their pocket. And that tends to be the great leveler with people when you go, look, we can spend another half hour doing this, but it's going to cost you an extra amount of money. And people tend to get to the finish line pretty quickly when you're throwing that at them.
It's funny about that, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how efficient people can be when they know they're paying by the hour.
Yes,
and it goes the other way too. That's one of the reasons why I don't really do project rates anymore, because people will just continue to labour over things that they don't really need to.
That can be the case. That can be the case.
Yep.
And we've sort of drifted way off to talking about you and the Banks Brothers and your current single, so I apologise for that, but I appreciate you chatting about it. I really enjoy that. So the current single, These Arms, from your album, which we're enjoying, but what's you said you're working on some new material for a new album. What's happening with that? Will that be sort of next year project or later this year?
Look, we're working through it pretty quickly. Like, we only really started on it this week, and we're already, in terms of rhythm section tracks, done on about 7 or 8 songs. All the songs are written. We've got a pool of about 18 or 19 songs that we're picking the best 11 or 12 out of.
Yep.
So now we're in lockdown. We're just kind of chipping away. Like, for me, I can work on it in a dedicated way. The other boys are still teaching. They're school teachers and or music teachers at school, so they're working during the day. They've both got young kids, so they just do their bits when they can. So I would probably think that we'd have most of the record finished. If lockdown continues, we'd probably have most of it done in the next couple of weeks. We probably would see a single. So we've released These Arms now. We've got another. Last year we had great success doing an instrumental single in about September, where all the proceeds went to Support Act. We'll probably do the same thing again this year. I was actually working on the instrumental this morning, and the boys are really into that. So the idea would probably be for that to come out in September again, and again to try and raise money for Support Act. We raised about $1,300 last year with our single last year, so we want to try and get to $2,000 this year. And then we probably do the first single from the next record before the end of the year, and the album will probably come out in the middle of next year, I think. So, usual story, a couple of singles, and then the album comes out mid-next year.
What about a Christmas song?
Look, in my solo career, my solo projects, I've done a fair few Christmas songs. I actually really enjoy doing them, even though I struggle with the idea of they're only relevant for about 3 weeks of the year. It's not like anybody's going through and listening to a Christmas song in the middle of March. So we'll see if we can find a country twist on a Christmas idea. So now what you've done, Clayton, you've planted that seed in my head. I'll go away and think about it now and come back with a Christmas song with the Banks Brothers. You watch. I'll blame you.
I move in mysterious ways, mate. That's what I was hoping.
You never know.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to chatting to you about your Christmas songs. So I'm noting it on my diary here. So
let's book it in for the 18th of December.
Yes, we'll be here, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Well, Michael, I really enjoyed chatting to you. Thank you so much for talking about studio stuff and that as well. I really appreciate that. But we're here more for your current single with the Banks Brothers. We've got it ready to go. Thank you so much. Please stay safe. Look after yourself. And I look forward to chatting to you again, no doubt, later in the year. We've got it here ready to go. If you could please introduce it for all our Flow listeners.
Okay. This is Michael Carpenter and the Banks Brothers with their new single, These Arms.
1, 2, 3.
These arms can't hold you slowly, let you go. This heart can't take it anymore. For years I've tried to be your everything, but today I'm showing you the door. Once upon a time, back when you loved me, back then I believed in true romance. Time has let me know that if you're standing still, loving you just doesn't stand a chance. These arms can't hold you, so they won't let you go. This heart deserves a better love. For years I've given you my everything, but today I'll say enough's enough. You've been running with a new pack. Though I tried, I couldn't find a way to be a part of all the things you seem to want. I can't take it, not another day. These arms can't hold you, so they'll let you go. This heart can't take it anymore. Try to be today I'm showing you the door. Yeah, today I'm showing you the door.